we're looking at the local share, and we've always been a good neighbor here in Western New York. We'll continue to be a good neighbor.
Right now at 4, Seneca on standby. We break down the latest developments from the Seneca Nation as they prepare to make their final casino payment to the state, how this will affect Western New Yorkers. And up in the air, Republicans make their final push to seal the deal on repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act.
I had doubts. Even though I decided to go back to school, I felt like maybe I wouldn't be hired.
And Lending a Helping Hand, the program specially designed to help single moms get back into the workforce. First at 4, we begin with breaking news in the town of Tonawanda. Police tell us a lockdown at Northtown's Academy on Dexter Terrace just ended. Good afternoon, everyone. Christy is off today. Town of Tonawanda police say they were investigating an unconfirmed report of an armed student inside the school. Police say all students are safe and accounted for. Police tell us students are being put onto buses right now. Concerned parents were told to go to the Home Depot Plaza at 2065 Niagara Falls Boulevard and see the police officers near the closed Walmart there. We were just told by police that parents should stay there until the buses are on their way. People traveling in the area should be aware that Dexter Terrace has been closed to all traffic at Niagara Falls Boulevard. We will have a live report with the latest developments coming up on News 4 at 4:30. Going to our other breaking story right now, we were told earlier today by Buffalo police that a body was found around 1:30 this afternoon in the first block of Hirschbeck Street. Detectives say the man's body was discovered by crews who were conducting a demolition following a recent fire there. Investigators are still trying to identify the body. An autopsy will be conducted by Erie County medical examiners to determine a cause of death. We've learned new details this afternoon about the charges 2 state lawmakers from Niagara County face. State Senator Robert Ortt and former State Senator George Maziarz have both been indicted. News 4's Dave Graber joins us live in the newsroom with the charges they face. Dave?
Well, Callan, former State Senator George Maziarz skimmed more than $100,000 from his campaign coffers to make sexual harassment claims within his own office disappear. And the man who replaced him, current Senator Robert Ortt, used the same tactics to pay for a supposed job for his wife, which she actually never worked. Those are among the chief accusations by State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman as part of an indictment that was announced in the Capitol yesterday. The indictment alleges that Maziarz set up a scheme that took money from his own campaign committee and from the Niagara County Republican Committee from 2012 through 2014. 2 payments, according to the AG's office, one for $49,000, the other for $46,000, were allegedly made to a former Maziarz staff member who resigned amid a sexual harassment case. Maziarz is accused of trying to hide those payments by creating fake expenses on campaign filings with the State Board of Elections. Ortt's allegations, on the other hand, stem from when he was mayor of North Tonawanda. Schneiderman says Ortt used a similar scheme to pay his wife for a job that she never did. Schneiderman says Megan Ortt was paid more than $21,000 for what he described as a, quote, no-show job.
He is being charged with a document that he never saw. He never had any discussions. He never was involved with. So I don't know how he's involved. The Attorney General of this state has signed off on this indictment, which means that as a lawyer, he is telling the community that a crime has been committed. And I can tell you that based upon what I know, I have no idea where that crime is.
Now, we have much more on this story, including the amount of time that both of these men potentially face in jail if they are convicted, as well as more details from the arraignment of former Senator George Maziarz. All of that is coming up tonight on News 4 at both 4 and 5, or at 5 and 6 o'clock. Reporting live in the newsroom, Dave Graber, News 4 at 4.
All right, thank you, Dave. The Seneca Nation will not give any more money to the state. The nation's president says over the last 14 years, the state has received more than $1.4 billion from casino revenue. But the next payment they make will be their last. News 4's Ali Ingersoll is at the Seneca Nation reservation, where the president explained why.
The president of the Seneca Nation addressed us here this morning, saying that they've been aware that this agreement is running out, and says he's hopeful that they can continue their relationships with the communities where the casinos are located.
This is not new. The language of the compact has not changed.
The agreement between the Seneca Nation and the state outlines the payments the nation would make to the state through the first 14 years, but there's no mention of the payments continuing after that, despite the compact being in place through 2023. President Gates says there's no reasoning behind ending paying the state other than it's what the two parties agreed on when signing the compact.
Our obligation to the state ended. This will be something new. That's why we need to talk about it.
That something new he's talking about includes working on an agreement with the communities where the casinos are located. Buffalo, Salamanca, and Niagara Falls all receive a portion of the revenue that's coming into the casinos from the slot profits. But President Gates says it's likely those amounts will be decreasing as the Seneca casinos are seeing the cash flow slow down.
They're slicing that pie in too many pieces, and everybody's revenue goes down.
And he says they're feeling that impact around their community.
They've been taking our money for a long time now, and they don't help us any, you know what I mean?
And
they're going to use us to pay their bills off. That's not right.
the compact between the Seneca Nation and New York State has been in place since 2002, and the Seneca Nation president estimates they've paid more than $1.4 billion to the state over that time.
We have to be diplomatic and reach agreements that are benefit to everybody.
Some Seneca Nation members fear the state will now try to make up for the lost revenue from the nation in other ways, including taxing those who live on the reservation. The president says he isn't afraid of retaliation from the state.
I can't be concerned with the state. My goal is to work for my nation, my people.
Right now, the Seneca Nation has not entered into any agreements with the cities where the casinos are located, but the president's hopeful that that's something that will be happening in the near future. President Gates tells us that they'll be making their final payment to the state next week and says it amounts to around $30 million. Reporting from the Seneca Nation Reservation in Cattaraugus County, Allie Ingersoll, News 4.
2 people were flown to the hospital after a car collided with a tractor trailer in Genesee County. It happened at Route 77 and Lewiston Road in Alabama. The victims were in the car that slammed into and underneath the tractor trailer. The vehicle lost its roof but continued it on. It hit a building and a parked car before finally coming to rest. State police say both people are in serious condition. We're told the tractor trailer had the right of way. The truck driver was not injured. An investigation is underway by the U.S. Air Force following the death of a Dansville native killed in the line of duty. 25-year-old Alexandria Gleason Morrow was killed Tuesday in Jordan. She was married and a mother of 2 young children. In a statement, Lieutenant Kip Sumner said, quote, "She died from injuries sustained from performing maintenance duties downrange during non-combat operations." He said the death is still under investigation. ISIS claims responsibility for the deadly attack in London, and police have identified the man responsible for driving his car into a crowd of people in London, killing 3. Authorities say 52-year-old Khalid Massoud from Britain also stabbed a police officer who died. It was the deadliest terror attack in London in 12 years. Today, police officers held a wreath-laying ceremony at Scotland Yard where the officer was killed. The attacker rammed his car into the gates outside of Parliament moments before stabbing the police officer. Session was held today. Lawmakers observed a moment of silence for those killed and injured.
This was an attack on free people everywhere. Our resolve will never waver in the face of terrorism.
Black vehicle come at full speed, and it ran over a few people walking on the road, and you could see people flying on the sky with the impact of the vehicle. Done.
Police say the attacker had a criminal record, but there was no indication he was planning a terrorist attack. British police have arrested at least 7 people in connection with the attack. Today was supposed to be the day the House voted on the GOP plan to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, but Republicans could not come to a decision, ending the voting session for the day. We're told voting will start back up tomorrow. Weijia Zhang reports from Capitol Hill.